What if I told you that hidden in your very DNA lies the ghost of a species that should never have existed? Imagine walking through a shadowy cave and discovering a finger bone so small, so fragile, yet carrying secrets that could rewrite human history. This wasn't a creature from legend, nor a misplaced fossil. It was evidence of a being who lived alongside our ancestors, mingled with them, and vanished without a trace. And yet its presence lingers in us. Today, we are about to unravel a mystery stranger than fiction, a story written in our cells that challenges everything we thought we knew about humanity. Long before cities rose like glass towers and the hum of machines filled the skies, humans roamed vast, untamed landscapes, their shadows flickering beneath flickering fires, tracing constellations older than memory, their hearts beating in sync with the rhythms of wild lands. And yet they were not alone. Somewhere in the cold caves of Siberia, the misted valleys of Asia, the rugged highlands of Southeast Asia, and the jagged cliffs of far-flung islands, a species moved silently alongside them, a species that should not exist. Evidence of their presence came not in legends, passed through generations, or in crumbling stone carvings, but in whispers embedded in the very code of our DNA, fragments of a ghost refusing to be forgotten, echoing faintly in the cells of those who would live tens of thousands of years later. Imagine a world where every footstep could meet an observer equally cunning, every hunt might be shadowed by a silent companion, and every firelight could illuminate the outline of eyes watching from darkness. In the Denisova cave, a narrow, unremarkable crevice in the Altai Mountains, a small, fragile finger bone lying unnoticed for millennia changed everything we thought we knew about human history. It was no ordinary fragment. The DNA it held revealed a being neither fully Neanderthal nor fully modern human, a shadowy branch of our family tree, a ghost lineage whose existence defied the tidy, linear narrative of evolution. As scientists sequenced its genome, the revelation was staggering. Here was proof that our ancestors did not merely survive alongside other humans. They mingled, interbred, exchanged survival strategies, and perhaps even stories with beings that should have been impossible. Their bones told part of the tale. Fingers long and elegant, teeth massive and unyielding, bodies adapted to extremes of ice, altitude and scarce food. A species honed by harsh environments, yet capable of subtlety and ingenuity. But the DNA told another stranger story, one that extended beyond the cave walls, reaching into the distant islands of Melanesia, where modern populations carry up to 5% Denisovan DNA. An echo of contact so long ago it seems almost mythical. It is not merely inheritance, it is a living testament to encounters whose details are lost to time, yet whose effects ripple through human physiology today, from resistance to disease to the ability to breathe where oxygen is thin. And as we dig deeper, the story becomes even more surreal. There are sequences in our genome that refuse to match any known species, stretches of code that speak of lineages entirely unknown to science, ghostly remnants of beings who left no bones, no teeth, no artifacts, yet whose presence lingers in the shadows of our chromosomes. Imagine ancestors walking through twilight forests, bow in hand, their senses alert, suddenly aware of eyes watching from between the trees. A being moving silently, calculating, intelligent, perhaps even curious, mirroring their own apprehension, and then disappearing into mist. How often did these meetings occur? Were they tense encounters filled with fear, or cautious collaborations forged over survival? Could it be that the subtle nuances of human behavior, the unspoken codes of cooperation, the strategies of hunting, the ways we adapted to new landscapes, bear the invisible imprint of these impossible encounters? Every fossil fragment, every gene sequence, every anomalous DNA strand is a breadcrumb in a story more intricate than any narrative we have imagined. A story in which the definition of human becomes porous, flexible, and endlessly fascinating. The Denisovans were not the only mystery. Teeth found in Chinese caves, bone fragments in Southeast Asia, all suggest a network of archaic species interacting, overlapping, and leaving genetic traces that challenge conventional evolutionary theory. Some researchers now speak of multiple ghost lineages interweaving with early Homo sapiens, creating a complex tapestry of survival, adaptation, and interconnection. The notion that humanity is a singular, unbroken line of descent becomes laughably simple when confronted with this evidence. Instead, picture a braided river, streams of species converging and diverging, flowing together and apart across millennia, each leaving sediments in the soil, in the bones, and most intriguingly, in the very genetic structure of modern humans. As we reflect on this, the human imagination struggles to keep pace with reality. Picture a shadowy figure moving between frozen boulders, a creature built for endurance, intelligence, and subtlety, watching our ancestors with eyes that seem eerily human, yet undeniably foreign. Imagine the tension, the curiosity, the spark of recognition or even empathy that might have passed between them and our forebears. Was there a silent exchange of knowledge? Did they teach one another how to track prey, to find water in parched lands, to survive the bitter cold? And more hauntingly, what happened in the moments of intimacy? The interbreeding that left a genetic fingerprint still visible today, a subtle reminder of connections that defy the logic of survival and extinction. Extinction, after all, was never absolute. The Denisovans vanished from the fossil record, yet their genetic legacy endures, quietly shaping human life in ways we are only beginning to understand. The same can be said for other ghost lineages hinted at in our genome. Beings that left no stone monuments, no toolkits, no cave paintings, and yet whose essence persists invisibly within us. This leads to staggering questions. If species can vanish from the visible world yet persist in DNA, what other impossible species might have existed alongside humans? Could there be echoes of entirely unknown species hidden in the genomes of modern populations, quietly influencing physiology, behavior, or cognition? As we delve into these mysteries, the walls between known history and speculation blur. Every discovery, from bone fragments in frozen caves to the most minute sequences in the human genome, challenges us to rethink the very definition of humanity. And in that redefinition lies awe. Our species is not an isolated triumph of evolution, but a mosaic of interactions, collisions, and collaborations with beings whose existence was once deemed impossible. Imagine a world where every gene we carry could tell a story, a hidden narrative of survival, adaptation, and interconnection that spans continents and ice ages. Every inherited trait, from resistance to pathogens to the ability to thrive in extreme climates, may be a silent gift from a species we have yet to fully understand. And yet, despite the richness of these encounters, vast mysteries remain. Why did the Denisovans vanish, while Neanderthals lingered longer in Europe and Asia? Was it climate, competition, disease, or some subtle ecological advantage we have yet to grasp? Did other unknown species survive in small hidden populations, leaving no fossil record but weaving their presence into ours through genes? The more we investigate, the more questions arise, each more astonishing than the last. And the answers are not confined to history. They are alive within us, shaping who we are and hinting at a past far stranger than any fiction. The interwoven paths of humans and species that should not exist reveal that evolution is not a tidy march forward but a labyrinthine journey, chaotic, unpredictable, and breathtakingly complex. Imagine peering into the genome of a modern human and finding the echo of a creature whose very body was designed for endurance in impossible conditions, whose life intersected with ours in fleeting yet profound ways. These fragments are more than scientific curiosities. They are windows into a world where survival, adaptation, and connection were endlessly inventive, where beings could appear, interact, and leave an enduring mark on life itself without ever leaving a complete trace in the archaeological record. And in that realization lies a profound awe. Our story, our identity, and perhaps even our potential are inseparable from encounters with species that should not exist yet did, whose genetic whispers remind us that life is far stranger, far more intricate, and far more interconnected than we have ever imagined. As we delve deeper into the tangled web of human history, the mysteries grow darker, stranger, and more mesmerizing. The Denisovans were only the beginning, a glimpse into a hidden world where our ancestors' paths overlapped with beings that defied every expectation. Fossils are scarce. A tooth here, a bone there, fragments that whisper secrets rather than reveal them. But DNA tells a story far richer and more intimate than stone ever could. Some sequences reveal adaptations honed over hundreds of thousands of years, traits that allowed survival in icebound landscapes or humid jungles. Others are even stranger, segments that do not match any known species, hinting at lineages entirely lost to time, species that vanished yet left echoes in our very cells. Imagine walking through a forest and sensing a presence unseen, a creature, once alive, thinking and breathing, now alive only in our genes. These genetic imprints suggest that survival, intelligence, and even aspects of human behavior may have been shaped in part by interactions with beings we barely understand. Consider the high-altitude adaptations inherited from Denisovans, allowing modern Tibetans to thrive where oxygen is scarce, a living testament to interbreeding and shared history. But the story goes beyond survival. Certain DNA sequences hint at influences on neurological development, immune response, and behavior, raising profound questions. Could instincts, social strategies, or even subtle cognitive patterns in humans be inherited from these ghostly encounters? Picture a twilight forest where a human forebear freezes, bow raised, feeling eyes watching from the shadows, intelligent yet alien, curiosity mirrored across species. Were there exchanges of knowledge, of hunting strategies, of survival tactics, passed silently across millennia? Fossil hints across China and Southeast Asia suggest not one, but multiple unknown species interacting with Homo sapiens and Denisovans, weaving a network of contact that challenges every linear notion of evolution. Genetic studies show interbreeding was more common than imagined, producing offspring whose existence defied the known rules of survival. These fleeting encounters, rare, tense, and perhaps dangerous, left enduring marks, rippling through generations, to influence human physiology, resilience, and even culture. Imagine ancestors moving cautiously through a snowy valley, instinct and awareness sharpened by danger, sensing another intelligence watching, calculating, and vanishing into mist. Could these encounters have shaped communication, cooperation, or early cultural practices? Anthropologists speculate that storytelling, ritual, and subtle social cues may bear the imprint of these interactions, invisible in artifacts but encoded in behavior across generations. The tapestry of evolution becomes astonishingly intricate. Ghost species were not anomalies, but collaborators, competitors, and co-inhabitants of a world we scarcely recognize. Their choices, strategies, and very presence left indelible marks on our biology and perhaps our psychology. And yet, despite DNA evidence, the fossil record refuses to yield a complete narrative. These species were masters of disappearance, leaving only whispers behind, forcing us to reconstruct their lives from fragments. Why did Denisovans vanish, while Neanderthals lingered longer in Europe and Asia? Was it climate, disease, competition, or a subtle ecological advantage lost to us? Might some lineages have persisted quietly, leaving only genetic clues in modern populations? The implications are staggering. Humanity may not be a single line of triumph, but a mosaic, a network of interactions, adaptations, and inheritances from beings long vanished yet intimately entwined with our existence. Our intelligence, resilience, and capacity for culture may be the cumulative product of multiple species, layered across millennia. Some sequences hint at behavioral traits, social organization, cognitive tendencies, even perception, perhaps inherited from beings whose voices we will never hear. What did they notice in the world that we do not? How did they read the seasons, the skies, or animal migrations? Did they teach, learn, observe, and influence our ancestors' survival in ways only visible now in genetic whispers? Some unknown. Species may have persisted longer than expected, leaving no fossil evidence but quietly shaping modern humans in ways we are only beginning to grasp. Each human carries echoes of multiple species, each contributing to our complexity, resilience, and ingenuity. These realizations reshape everything we thought we knew about evolution and identity. We are not the product of a single linear path, but of an intricate braided network, a dense story written in bones, genes, and fleeting interactions over tens of thousands of years. Each gene fragment is a window into adaptation, survival, and intelligence that spans continents, climates, and unimaginable challenges. Species that should never have coexisted met, interacted, and merged, suggesting evolution is less a ladder than a labyrinth, where survival is shaped not only by fitness, but by connection, collaboration, and chance encounters. Humanity, in this light, becomes a mirror of life's complexity, unpredictable, intertwined, and infinitely richer than we imagined. The Denisovans, other ghost species and unknown lineages, challenge the definition of what it means to be human, to be intelligent, and to survive. As we peer deeper into our genome, we confront a staggering truth. Our story is not ours alone. It is shared with beings long vanished, yet alive within us, reminding us that life is stranger, more interconnected, and more mysterious than any story ever told. Every breath, every instinct, every survival skill may carry the silent echo of species that should not have existed, yet shaped our very existence, leaving us with a haunting, exhilarating sense of wonder at the hidden history that courses through our veins. As we follow these threads to their farthest reaches, the landscape of human history transforms into something almost unrecognizable, a labyrinth of lives, encounters, and impossible intersections. The Denisovans, the shadow species, and other unknown lineages are not relics of a distant past. They are active participants in the story of who we are. Imagine a twilight cave in the highlands, the smoke of fire swirling as a group of humans huddles together, while across the shadows, another being watches, curious, cautious, and aware. Perhaps warmth or food is shared, perhaps nothing at all except a fleeting glance that echoes across generations. Yet these encounters left indelible marks in our DNA, subtle but profound fingerprints shaping how we survive, adapt, and even think. We now know the genetic contributions of Denisovans and other ghost species appear in unexpected ways. In immunity, in physiology, in the ability to thrive in extreme environments, and perhaps even in cognitive tendencies that shape problem-solving, awareness, and social behavior. Humanity's story is not merely one of conquest or intelligence. It is a story of connection, survival forged through interaction with beings that should not exist. And as we explore further, the revelations become more astonishing. Genetic studies reveal multiple pulses of interbreeding, far more frequent than imagined, with some humans carrying DNA from species that left no fossil record, creatures entirely lost to time yet alive in our genomes, influencing us silently. Picture the landscapes our ancestors crossed: frozen tundras, humid jungles, jagged mountains, each encounter with other species a chance for survival, for adaptation, for the exchange of knowledge in ways that may forever be invisible to archaeology, but visible in the human body and mind. Some sequences suggest not just survival traits, but behavioral imprints, subtle influences on social cohesion, cooperation, and perception, hinting that instincts we consider innately human may be partly inherited from these ghostly companions. And then comes the haunting beauty of disappearance. The Denisovans vanished, leaving only bones, teeth, and faint genetic whispers. Other species may have persisted longer than we suspect, hidden in remote populations, their influence woven into humans even today. Humanity, in this light, is not the product of a single lineage, but a mosaic of interactions, a braided river of life shaped by encounters, adaptations, and inheritance. This realization forces a radical re-evaluation of intelligence, resilience, and identity. Beings that should not have existed shaped aspects of our physiology, cognition, and behavior. Every fossil fragment, every gene sequence is more than data. It is a story of survival, exchange, and coexistence, of species whose paths crossed with ours in ways both fleeting and profound. The echoes of these encounters continue to ripple through modern humans, influencing immunity, metabolism, even neurological development, a testament to the hidden complexity of evolution. Life emerges not as a straight path, but as a tangled, intertwined web, chaotic, unpredictable, and endlessly rich. These ghost species remind us that evolution is messy, wondrous, and stranger than fiction, that humanity is not alone in its history, and that the traces of beings who vanished tens of thousands of years ago still live within us. And in this understanding lies awe. Every breath we take, every instinct, every adaptation may carry the legacy of species that should not exist, yet helped make us what we are. The past is no longer distant. It is written in our cells, a living, invisible testament to encounters, collisions, and collaborations that transcend the fossil record. Humanity is a chorus of life, a symphony of species interwoven, where intelligence, culture, and adaptability were shaped as much by those we never fully saw as by our own ancestors. And as we confront this, curiosity and wonder remain, urging us to dig deeper, to question more boldly, and to realize that the story of life and of ourselves is far from complete. Every discovery opens doors to possibilities more astonishing than the last, and as we peer into our genomes, into the landscapes our ancestors once traversed, and into the shadows of prehistory, we are left with a humbling, thrilling truth. We are the living legacy of beings that should not exist, yet whose influence continues to shape humanity, reminding us that life is infinitely stranger, richer, and more interconnected than we ever imagined, and that the mystery of who we are is still unfolding.